Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with our Wednesday guest, our all-star, our rock star, our legendary investor, Anna Kelly. Raise the roof. Woo!
How are you today?
I'm doing well. I always love my Wednesday conversations with you. Something I want to do is introduce a concept that a couple of other experts, Dion and Matt and I, are working on. And again, remind people that you did this at the very beginning. So we call this thing the cheat code to wealth. You ready?
Yes.
So essentially what I'm asking my audience to do, a lot of people are 30, 40 years old. They are house rich, cash poor. And I can't tell you how many people are like, I want to get started, but I don't have a savings. I don't have down payment. I don't have this. I don't have that. So something that Dion did and Matt did, they both house hacked, right? Matt's a ninth grade dropout. Dion's story starts with 3 kids and $89,000 in negative net worth, and makes $17 an hour. So that's their situation when they do this. So the first thing you could do if you're 30 or 40 years old and you're a follower of one rental at a time is I want you to at least pretend to sell your home. Just pretend. Go to Zillow, figure out what it's worth. Look at your mortgage statement, figure out what the debt is. Subtract. There's a number. I want this to be as accurate as possible. So I want you to subtract 6% of selling costs, right? So, 100 grand becomes, I don't know, 94 or whatever. Then I want you to ask one question about taxes. Have you lived in the home 2 of the last 5 years? If the answer is yes, which probably most people it is, you can take $250,000 tax-free from the IRS if you're single, 500 grand tax-free if you're married. Okay. So what I want you to understand is what is your cash balance? Because most of you, when that happens, you are going to be more liquid than you have ever been. Lastly, I want you to note your mortgage payment, $2,000, $3,000, whatever it is. Then on, and what I'm going to ask them to do is what you did. I'm going to ask them to go find a nice fourplex in their market. I'm going to ask them to live in one of the units, and I'm going to ask them to figure out what the rent is for the other 3. Take 20% expenses, figure out what you're living for. Maybe you're living for $500 a month. Maybe you're getting paid to live there. Regardless, you will have more cash because you're going to get a 95% loan because you're only going to use 5%. You're going to be living for cheaper because maybe it's $500 to live in a fourplex and you were spending $2 grand. So you have 1,500 positive growth minimum. That's what I've seen as people have done this. And oh, by the way, you're sitting on 100 grand or whatever it is that you can really start investing. So we call this the cheat code to wealth, as well as income snowball, because you're living for cheaper. And let's remind people that you did this exact thing at the very beginning.
Absolutely, I did. And we were well into our way into this, American dream of a nice car and nice house and ready for babies and all that kind of stuff, right? So we had a nice big house in Texas and I wanted to be home, right? So we sold the house, we sold everything, and we moved to Pennsylvania. And not only did I house hack, but the first year we moved in with my in-laws.
Oh, that's sacrifice.
With a 3-year-old and a 10-month-old. And we had to do it. We knew we're taking a huge step back so that we can make better decisions to save and to move forward with our new business. So we lived with in-laws for a year, and then we found the 4 unit and we decided, you know what? It was real tempting to say, husband's business did great this year, brand new business. My job let me keep my work from home gig. We could afford a new house, but I knew that wasn't the wisest thing to do because I wouldn't then be able to buy any more rental property.
Yeah, you'd be tapped out. You'd have to, the rat race is real, folks. And I admit this in the book.
Yes.
You would have just taken the wheel and made it bigger and have to run faster and faster and faster.
Absolutely. And I knew I wanted to reduce my expenses so that I could reduce my income and be home with my kids. So we bought a 4 unit. And I got in with FHA financing. So I put 3 or 3.5% down. Yes, you have mortgage insurance, but we were able to kind of get rid of that eventually. And we moved into a small 2-bedroom apartment with an attic that we were going to drywall and make into a 3rd room, like for an office. And I don't remember all the financials, but I remember that my mortgage payment and the taxes and insurance were all covered by the other 3 units.
Exactly.
So I had 0 living expense in terms of the roof over my head, just food, right?
Yeah.
And so I went from probably a $1,900, $2,000 a month mortgage. If you can go to 0, that's $20,000 to $24,000 that you can put down on a rental
every
property
single year.
every year, one rental at a time, 4 years.
Yeah, I want to break this down
Freedom.
because so many people hear me say this and they flip out. Oh, I can't do that. I can't. You did this with 2 kids in a new area. You moved into this small unit. And again, you did exactly what we're talking about. So I just want to see if we can get the numbers. I think you told me once when you sold the house, you didn't walk away with a lot of cash, or did you?
No, we didn't walk away with a lot of cash. We were starting a new business. Right. So we did have cash. I can't remember how much we got out of it to put down. It might've been 20, because I didn't live in it for very long. So, in the beginning, it's all interest that you're paying. I think I might've had about $30,000 cash from that.
Yep. Totally fine.
But that's what I used as the down payment to my 4 unit that we have.
Exactly. People, wake up. And again,
I was 32 years old.
And you were in your 30s. This isn't some 21-year-old college grad. This is husband and wife, a 4-year-old and a 10-month-old.
3-year-old, 10-month-old, a 6-figure income.
Yeah.
And we took a step back, and it was the best, smartest thing we have ever done. And every single young investor that I talk to, everyone that I talk to, my kids' friends, I say the first thing you need to do is house hack. And you know what? If you live in a rural area like I do, USDA has 100% financing plus your closing costs. You could literally buy a 4-unit property as long as you've had a job for a year, right? Mm-hmm. No money down, and start creating income and have 0 living costs other than your food and your gas.
I hope people take me up on this. This is an exercise I'm asking every single one of my viewers to do. Just get out in a spreadsheet, do it in paper. I don't care. Pretend to sell your house, figure out how much you'd really walk away from, then go research a 4-plex in your area, make it a nice one. I don't care.
Right.
And then figure out. So about a dozen people have already done this. Here are the averages. The average walk away is 120 grand. The average savings is, the average seems to be about $300 they're paying to live there, which is fine, right? You go from 2,000 to paying 300, you're still saving 1,700. And oh, by the way, you have inflation in rents. Eventually that it's just a win-win. And again, you can do this in your 30s with children. You
absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said, it was the best thing I ever did. And from there, we did it again, Michael. And then from there, instead of going to buy the big house, because to buy the house we wanted, our payment would have been really high again. I found a really, really nice home in a slightly older but well-to-do area. My rent was much less than if I had bought that home and had to pay a mortgage, taxes, and insurance. So we rented for another 4 years. So we didn't have to put a big down payment on a house. And instead, everything we saved, I used to continue to buy multiple rental properties while we rented. And I waited until we had enough rental income to totally cover our mortgage and some other things before we decided to buy a house again. It was several years.
I want people to hear this. You guys look at Anna Kelly. She's been on here. She talks about doing an $80 million syndication, a $10 million deal with JVs. She told us in the first deal, she's doing a $2.6 million deal. She, in your mind, took a step back. A lot of you aren't even willing to consider, and she calls it the best decision she's ever done. Yes. How soft are you that you're not even considering it?
Yeah. 6 years before I owned a home again. 6 years. No, 7 years. In-laws a year, house hack 2, rented 4, 7 years without my own big house. But in that time, I developed a couple $1 million net worth and was well on my way to replacing a 6-figure income. I would do it all over again. If I lost everything today, everything, first thing I would do is I'd go get a 4-unit USDA loan and I would house hack again. And I would repeat everything that I've done.
Yeah. I hope everybody, because now this is probably the 5th or 6th time I've challenged my audience to do this. And again, I've had 12 do it. Awesome 12, but I have thousands of people that watch this.
Yes.
I'm hoping more people do it. And if you want to show me you've done it, just leave the comments below. Do the math. Nobody's going to know where you live. Nobody even knows your name with all these freaking YouTube names. Nobody knows who you are. Leave the math in the comments. And again, I want to go back to what Anna said. It was the best decision she ever made.
Yes, absolutely. You have to work to expand your means. But if you don't also learn to live below your means, you're just going to continue to increase your expenses and you'll never get anywhere. So building wealth really is a twofold thing, a twofold commitment. learn to live below your means while you work to expand your means. If you can do both of those things and have the discipline to do that, you will be very, very wealthy much more quickly and much more assuredly than any kind of get rich quick scheme or, anything else that you can do.
Yeah. And the other thing that I'm really harping on, this cheat code to wealth and income snowball, is a lot of people are comfortable with the latte factor. Hey, I'm going to stop my $6 latte habit. And they think they're doing that, $50 at a time. I want to tell you that your largest monthly expense for 95% of you is your housing costs. Yeah. Let me just be clear. If your auto cost is higher than your housing cost, you got a problem. I'm just saying.
Yes.
Right. But if your housing is your highest cost, let's go to attack that. Let's go take your $2,000 mortgage payment as Anna shared and turn it into zero.
Yes.
That is interesting. Your $6 latte habit might make you feel good. That's a lot. That is Dave Ramsey to the T. You're going to be doing that for 40 years and hold on tight. Go right. Attack your living expense, $2,000 a month, 24 grand a year. Oh, by the way, that's like net income. That's not even gross, right? Because you got to go make 40 to keep 24. So
right.
It just hurts my head that people are like, I can't do that. I can't do that. Anna Kelly, REI mom, the best decision she ever made. I mean, what else do you need to know?
Absolutely. Just do it. Michael's a smart guy. Listen to him.
Sometimes. Well, Anna, how can people follow you, get part of your world?
Great. You can follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram at Anna REI Mom Kelly. You can find me here every Wednesday with Michael for our great discussions. And if you're interested in passive investing in apartment syndications where we really invest for meaningful impact, you can follow me at www.greaterpurposecapital.com.
Yeah. Do yourself a favor, go to greaterpurposecapital.com, just see what she's doing there. It is something that is near and dear to both our hearts, is meaningful impact. So Anna, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.